Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back for another video. It's that time to do some college football breakdowns. The team we're going to be looking at today, the 2026 Georgia Bulldogs, the SEC champs last season, making the playoffs again. Yes, they got knocked out of the playoffs, but there's no doubt every single season this team is in the race. You always have to take them into account. They always have some of the best odds, some of the best Vegas predictions to actually make and win the national championship. And when you look at this roster top to bottom, this is a top roster, top five, top three. Some might even say the best overall roster talent-wise in all of college football, loaded with high 4, 5-star players up and down the field on both sides of the football. And this season, they're also returning Stockton at the quarterback position. Now they have the veteran, experienced quarterback. Look for him to be an even better version of himself this season than he was last year. And I want to see that ground game, just like it did second half of last season, continue to improve as this season starts to when this season ends. If they can dominate the ground game, that opens up the play action. That's where you want Stockton playing. That's where you want Frazier and company just dominating in the trenches, and they have the talent. Top offensive line, top defensive front seven, they're going to get after. We're going to break down their roster and their entire schedule this video and try to predict what's their final record going to be. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment down below. What do you think is going to happen to the Georgia Bulldogs this season? Do they go undefeated? What games do they lose? Do they win the SEC again? Winning the SEC doesn't mean you make the national championship. We've seen that the last 2 seasons, only one team that got the bye week to start the season didn't lose their very first game, and that was the Indiana Hoosiers this past season, who actually won the national championship. But Georgia would love nothing more to follow in their footsteps, get back to the big dance, win it, give Kirby Smart another national championship trophy, guys. Let's jump right into this team. When you're looking at the offensive roster, I love to start out looking at the offense because ultimately the most important position on the field is always going to be the quarterback, even if they're a game manager. They got to keep the turnovers down. They have to play smart. Gunnar Stockton, more than a game manager. Some people thought that's all that he was going to be last season. But in the big moments, when they needed him to step up, he stepped up. Think of the second half versus Tennessee. Think of the Alabama games, especially the second Alabama game. Georgia completely made up for that lone loss during the season. Gunnar Stockton's back. He can throw it, but it's what he can do with his legs that's a complete game changer. He's a mobile dual threat quarterback. He's not afraid to take off, run, pick up massive yards on the ground. He can get out of pressure, extending plays, rolling the pocket out, but he's still always keeping his eye looking down the field. Last season, think what they did with Zachariah Branch. I was saying the entire year, force the ball to Branch. He's one of the most dynamic receivers in the game. This season, Canyon, Wiley, Taylor, Humphreys, Whitehelton, Rolden. There's a lot of weapons, and these aren't scrubs. This is top-of-the-line talent, 4 5-star wide receivers. They've been working the portal this offseason. They don't rely on the portal, but they do use the portal to complement the roster they're already bringing in. Looking at the tight end, Lucky, Williams, and the running back positions, Frazier is back. Frazier should hopefully be fully healthy once the season starts. He really came on strong to end the season, dominating in the trenches, power running, picking up speed. You have Bowens, you have Dowdle, you have a very good 3-headed rushing attack, and they're veterans now. They're going to be even better. Georgia really slow running the ball the first couple games, but as the season progressed, they were averaging about 180 yards on the ground per game. That's the sweet spot. That's what it takes to dominate in the SEC, the ground attack. Yes, you need the passing game, but at the end of the day, it's the short yardage situations, 3rd and short, 4th and 1, 3rd and goal. That's when the ground game completely opens up the playbook, keeps the opposing defense on their toes. And let's jump into that schedule. You know this is an SEC schedule. It's not going to be a cakewalk. Every single team, the SEC, the deepest conference in college football, top to bottom. Even the scrub teams, you got to take them serious. Think of Vanderbilt last season, coming out of nowhere, 10 wins in the SEC last year. Any one of these teams is capable of pulling off the upset. You got to bring your A game every single Saturday. They start out the season week 1, September 5th versus Tennessee State. Obviously, this is not a conference game. This is a game they're going to dominate. It's going to be a huge win. 60-7, 58-0. All that this is a cupcake first game to get your rhythm on track, to get the offense rolling, get the defense playing well. You want to build up momentum because once SEC play starts, there's no looking back. You need to be firing on all cylinders. This is going to be an easy win. Starting out the season 1-0. Week 2, September 12th, Western Kentucky. Again, Georgia, they don't always play the toughest out-of-conference schedule. They're not afraid to play anyone, but sometimes they have a couple cup games in here. But I don't really fault them. Don't forget the SEC going to a longer conference schedule. There's going to be some tough games out there. They're going to be playing a really rough SEC schedule this season. Starting out, another cupcake, 2-0. Look for Stockton to have a couple big games here. Week 3, September 19th at the Arkansas Razorbacks. Arkansas, complete facelift on the team, complete new coaching staff. They've been trying to work the portal. They hired their coach late. They don't really have momentum. Think of what Green was able to do last season, though. This was a top 15 offense in the country. It's just their defense was god-awful. They gave up score for score. They could score on anyone, but their defense was even worse than their offense was great. Georgia's going to dominate this game. They're going to win this one. They might give up a couple points, then garbage time, second half, fourth quarter points, but ultimately, they'll probably win this one like a 38-20. Still very convincing win, getting the first SEC win. And then a really tough game. Now we're starting to get into the meat of that in-conference schedule, September 26th, versus the Oklahoma Sooners, coming to Georgia, coming to Athens, Georgia. Oklahoma, obviously a team that made the playoffs last season. Brent Venables is there. John Mateer's back. Wide receiver core should be better. They got to get that ground game going. Just like Alabama, they struggled to run the ball in the SEC and also out of conference. They got to work on that. They did have a top 10 defense. Their defense got after it. They led the SEC in tackles for a loss, led the SEC in sacks. Their front seven, they're going to be aggressive. That is Brent Venables' specialty. You know that defense is going to come to play. But how about the offense? Are they able to improve from where they were last season? Because last season, they were kind of playing football like a 1980s team. Really bad offense, but the defense was so dominating, creating turnovers, giving their offense the short field. The offense should be better this season in theory. John Mateer, if he can get back to the play the way that he started this season, he could have a potential Heisman season. That's what people were expecting. But when he hurt his hand, he was just never able to rebound. The offense completely went off the track second half. They'll be better on offense this season. Their defense will hold up. This is a close game. This is a dark horse game for Oklahoma to come in here and pull off the win. But I'm going to go Georgia, a very close game. Like 24-21, one possession, could be a field goal that decides it. Georgia squeaks out the win. Then after that, the schedule continues to stay tough. This team has been recruiting pretty good this past year, starting to build up a deeper roster, getting some depth. October 3rd versus the Vanderbilt Commodores, coming to Athens. Diego Pavia, he's not going to be back for his 15th year of college football. The guy is like 43 years old. Time to move on, start the next phase of your life. But they're actually bringing in some talent from the recruiting area, working the portal. Vanderbilt, starting to morph into a true SEC college football team, but can they keep that going year to year? We will definitely find out. Georgia's going to win this one, and they continue to roll through the SEC so far. After that, the gauntlet continues. October 10th at the Alabama Crimson Tide, going to Tuscaloosa. Last season, Alabama came to Georgia, pulled off the dominating victory. I was not buying. I was not buying it in any way whatsoever. Georgia got the rematch in the SEC championship, completely dog-walked them, blew their backs out. I'm not saying it's going to be a dominating win like that, but Alabama, the quarterback race is completely open for them. Ty Simpson's gone. They still have Williams there, still a talented team, talented wide receiver core. They're going to have a pretty good defense, but they can't run the ball. I don't want to line up against the Georgia Bulldogs unless I can dominate the trenches and run downhill. I don't see Alabama being able to do that. Kalen DeBoer, great coach. Grubbs, great offensive coordinator. But Georgia wins this one. I'm going to say like a 28-21. And again, they're still undefeated in the SEC. Then October 17th versus the Auburn Tigers. Auburn, Golish is taking over. Whole new coaching staff. You have Brown coming over from USF with him. Kind of a dual threat quarterback. He had like 4,500 yards last season. He can throw it. He can run it. He can do a little bit of everything. I think he had 45 total touchdowns. He's basically split down the middle, 50-50, throwing or running the ball. Look for a multiple offense here. They're going to try to move fast, move quick, run, throw, play action. They're going to be doing everything they can to get first downs. But first season, is it going to work first this Georgia defense? Might they be caught off track, kind of off guard the first time they play Golish's offense? That is potential. They will pull off an upset somewhere this season. They will lose the game that they're supposed to win. That's what happens with new teams completely built together through the portal. But I think Georgia's going to win this one. They beat Auburn. Then they have a much-needed bye week. That was a gauntlet that they just went through. They have the bye October 24th. And then October 31st, the Florida Gators in ATL this season. Don't forget, the largest cocktail party on earth, Jacksonville. They are remodeling the stadium. Can't play there. Would have loved to see a home-and-home series these two seasons. But they're going to play this one in Atlanta, which is kind of the Bulldogs' backyard. It is what it is. We'll take what we can get. The game is still going to be a great game. Take the records, throw them out the window. That means absolutely nothing in these rivalry games. Florida, Summerall's taking over. Philo transferred over. A new offense coordinator coming with Philo from Georgia Tech. Again, one of those teams, complete remodel, overhaul of the team. We don't know what to expect just yet because no one has seen the product on the field. It's the unknown. With the unknown comes the potential for the upset. This game has been close the last couple seasons. Florida always plays Georgia tough. Georgia always plays Florida tough. Whoever's on top, they can't overlook this game or they can come in here and lose it. I don't think it happens. I think Florida does keep it very close. They put up a fight. The players want to win it, but Georgia ultimately pulls off the dub.
And guys, at this point, you're probably starting to notice that so far, I don't have the Bulldogs dropping a game as of right now. It's a very difficult schedule. There's still some tough games left on the slate. There is the possibility for an upset loss somewhere along the schedule. That would not derail your season. Heck, even if you lost 2 games, finish 10-2 out of the SEC, you're going to be making the college football playoffs if you are the Georgia Bulldogs, one of the biggest college football brands. But they continue to cruise so far. The very next game, November 7th at the Ole Miss Rebels. Very interesting here. Obviously, Chambliss, he's going to be back. You have Golden calling plays. He's the head coach. The offense, they're not just without Lane Kiffin, the general. They still had Charlie Weiss Jr. the entire playoff run, still calling the same offense. Charlie Weiss Jr., he's gone. He's off to LSU. New offensive coordinator. Chambliss showed when he is on, he's one of the most electrifying college football playoff quarterbacks. He's back again. There's no doubt, even without those leadership pieces, Charlie Weiss Jr., Lane Kiffin, their offense is still going to be able to score. But without Lane Kiffin building this roster, he at least set the foundation. Very interesting to see how Ole Miss looks a full season with Golding, especially once Chambliss is gone, because that's still a guy that Kiffin brought in. How does Golding build his own roster going forward? This team beat Georgia in the playoffs. We picked them to beat Georgia in the playoffs. We saw the writing on the wall, but I don't have it happening twice. I think this is, again, a very close game. Their offense is still one of the best in the country, but I think Georgia's is as well. The Bulldogs win this one, and still they are undefeated. Then after that, another tough SEC matchup, November 14th versus the Missouri Tigers. Drinkowitz always get the most out of his players. 3 stars, couple 4 stars on there. He coaches like a 4 and 5 star caliber team. Always play up to the caliber of whatever their opponent's strength is. They always have a solid defense, great rushing attack, very balanced offense. They lost some key pieces. They've been working the portal, lost some guys to the portal. This is always one of those teams. They can always sneak up to a 9 or 10 win SEC season. But I have Georgia winning this one. But this is one of those games coming off the Ole Miss game. After the Florida game where Georgia could easily drop this one. Perhaps not taking the game serious, cruising through the season, haven't lost the game yet. Everything has been roses so far, potentially looking at an undefeated. But I think Georgia wins a very low-scoring, close game, like a 24-21. But heck, they're still undefeated. After that, November 21st at the South Carolina Gamecocks. Actually, the final game of the SEC slate. If they win this, they would have gone undefeated during the SEC, putting them back in the SEC championship. No doubt about that. With South Carolina, Beamer's on the hot seat. If the season doesn't pan out, he might even be fired by this point. Lenore Sellers, personally, I wasn't high on him last season. He did not live up to a lot of people's expectations, but I never thought he was an accurate passer of the football. They're back. They have a new offense coordinator. Bryles definitely going to coach up to Sellers' talent. Whatever his potential is, he's going to get the most out of him. They're going to be running him. They're going to be using play action, multiple look offense, using his dual threat capabilities. But Georgia, that defense is too good. The front seven, bottling him up, keeping him in the pocket, keeping him from being able to take advantage of his legs. Georgia wins this one, finishes the SEC slate undefeated. Then they close out the season November 28th versus the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. This game has been so close the last couple seasons. Georgia has flirted with disaster, but always found some way to pull it out, to find some way to get the win in the fourth quarter at the end of the game. Georgia Tech has controlled the last couple games, but ultimately lost it. All that matters is that you walk away with the win. Georgia Tech, King's gone. They lost the offense coordinator. Still very talented team. They're going to play them tough. This is in-state rival here. They're going to have a good overall season, but there is a talent disadvantage. The only way Georgia loses this game is if they get caught looking at the SEC championship, because technically, at this point, you are undefeated. This game doesn't technically matter. It's a pride game, but Kirby Smart and his Bulldogs roster, they have pride. Been a couple seasons since they've been to a national championship. That's going to piss them off. They're going to be hungry this year. Georgia wins this one. I very rarely have a team going undefeated during the regular season. But just as of right now, just being honest and calling things the way they are, I don't see a loss right now on the schedule. There's a couple potential games, Oklahoma, Alabama, maybe a couple sneak up games, Ole Miss, Missouri, but ultimately, Georgia's the most talented team on their own schedule. I have them going 12-0 undefeated. Guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment down below. How do you think the Bulldogs do this season? What games do they win or lose? What's their final record? Leave it in the comment section. I will respond to every comment. If you want to sign up for one of our member teams, check out the pinned comment down below. And thanks for watching.